TYT Sports, Ben and Jason here. Tom Brady beats NFL in Deflategate case and suspension is nullified. We also do know that Bleacher Report at least gave the alert out that the NFL will be appealing.
Yeah, that was
very
clear yesterday. I was reading and listening to a lot of stuff yesterday, and this is a stunning legal decision because the consensus seemed to be that there's no way, since this is an arbitration, which generally judges won't overturn an arbiter's decision, and it was collectively, and mostly it's been collectively bargained. Right. That the Players Association and the league have sort of given Goodell this power, and therefore Goodell has this power. So that's that. Presumably that's how that goes. So this is a big surprise, but it was very clear that if the NFL lost, that they would appeal, because to them there was far more at risk. And what's at risk here is, does Goodell really have this much power? This is a direct threat to the commissioner's authority. So it's a big deal to them. It wouldn't have been as big a deal if Brady had lost because it's so clear that Goodell has this power and Brady is looking at his reputation in as much as he's looking at these 4 games. There was some thought that from Brady's camp that a decision that condemned the NFL for overstepping their power, for going too far, for not having the legal standing to give Brady the suspension while saying, but because you've collectively bargained this, we're not going to overturn it, Brady would be satisfied with. Like, look, they condemned the NFL, but I get it. This is the way it goes. And they probably wouldn't have appealed. Brady wouldn't have appealed. The NFL must appeal.
It seemed as if Brady was going to do everything he possibly could to defend his legacy throughout this entire 9-month process.
Yeah, I hear you. There's a lot. We haven't heard from Brady on that. Like, so until we hear his legacy is that he's going to win 4 Super Bowls. His legacy is not going to be that balls. This is about inflating balls. I just read on For the Win that how he deserved 4 games. This is nothing. That's 25% of the season. This is not an egregious crime. No. And by the way, here's a punishment for the crime. A big fine and a first-round pick for the team. That's a serious punishment. That's enough.
That's where you hit it where it hurts, because then you're affecting the future of the organization instead of what's going on right now.
No interest in defending Tom Brady. I'm thrilled that he won this case so I can get back, because the ogre here is Goodell, not Brady. So now I can go back to hating Tom Brady like a good red-blooded American, you know,
like a normal
person,
fan.
Right? I have no interest in being on poor Tom Brady's side. But everything that Judge Berman said in here rings totally true to me. First of all, there's the comic moment of this point where Roger Goodell reads they appealed to Roger Goodell. Man, I wrote some good stuff. This part right here, I nailed it. No, I'm going to uphold my own ruling. What are you, Tsarist Russia? Communist Russia? We don't do that. The Soviet Union did that. We don't do this. So that was crazy. Then, how was Brady supposed to know? There's nowhere, anywhere suggested that you could get a suspension for tampering with equipment. It's not there. It's not there. So,
and that's where he was nullified for the suspension. Exactly, you can't be suspended for having a general awareness. There's a good point made on Talk Radio this morning, Dan Patrick's show, where it would be, oh, my offensive lineman is taking steroids, and I'm generally aware that he's taking steroids, so I should be suspended too.
You can't. There's nothing in there that says you could be suspended for this. You want to write that in? That you tamper with equipment? Fine, write it in. You can call it the Brady rule going forward.
Well, they already have the Tuck rule. They already have a Brady rule.
That was a fumble, man.
They can't, what is this, the Brady Part 2 rule?
That was a fumble. Even by the dumb Tuck rule, it was a fumble. So this is a good decision. This is important about the rule of law. The NFL went too far, and the suspension was the team. It was a team thing that they did, picking out the quarterback any more than picking out the long snapper for doing it.
Right.
And because I get it, we all know what happened. We all know it was to please Brady and not the long snapper.
I'm taking this back from you, by the way, because there's this is so true. It speaks to what the fan base considers it, and the NFL fans in general. A survey of NFL players by ESPN's NFL Nation in August found that while 72% said they think that the Patriots purposely deflated their footballs, or that's better known as 70%, no, the Patriots deflated the footballs, the similar percentage believe that other teams do the exact same thing.
I got it. They did it. You can't suspend him 4 games because of it.
You can have
and by the way, the made-up legal precedent that, again, it gets put in quotes by all the media organizations that Brady was more likely than not That's not a thing. Just because you said that doesn't make it a thing.
Right.
That's not a legal standing anywhere. I know it's not going to jail, but that's not a legal standing even for costing somebody. So I got it. And if you'd suspended, if you'd fined Tom Brady $1 million, he probably would have given $1 million to some charity and worked it out and paid it.
Yeah.
You never would have had to do this. You didn't have it to suspend him. I'm not a Patriot fan. All those Patriot fans who are going nuts in Boston and were clamoring that this was somehow the NFL's way to get it. It's most important. All that was crazy. Those guys are nuts. I hate being on your side. I hate being on your side. You make no sense at all. That said, legally, this is the right decision. It's a good thing. Now we can return to hating Tom Brady as we should.
It's not fair to call them nuts. They're fans. That's what runs through your blood. When you want to see justice given to your player, then you're going to support. And you're a fan, so what's wrong with going through the streets giving out free coffee?
Because when you're a fan, you root for your team. You don't change your manner of looking at things logically because it's your team.
No, that's exactly what fans do.
No, that's what fools do.
Right.
That's what clowns do.
But that's what the majority of fans do.
Well, then the majority of fans are clowns.
Right.
Because you don't.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
I don't think at any point in rooting for when I used to root for the Washington NFL team, rooting for the Bullets or the Wizards or the Oakland A's or UCLA, the teams that I care passionately about, I have never once thought there was a game that the referees were against us. It's never happened, and it has never happened to you either. Ever.
I don't know. The Kings fans might have a case.
The Sacramento Kings?
Kings versus Lakers.
No, man, no. Well, maybe.
Right.
No, but I mean, it's a bad break. They're bad calls.
No, I understand that.
It's a bad break, but I mean, what do we think? That they got together and thought, no, let's make sure the Lakers go to the finals? No, didn't happen.
No, obviously not.
So, and that's the same thing with Brady, sort of thinking that sort of this was, hey, look, you guys, you did a bad thing, but the punishment was wrong. And by the way, losing Brady for 4 games or losing a first-round pick, it's worse to lose a first-round pick.
Yes.
That was the tougher punishment. And when Robert Kraft took that punishment, that should have been the end of this. The end. Make Brady give money to charity and be done with this. NFL and Roger Goodell, again, got slapped, and they're going to get slapped again, apparently, with this concussion movie when it comes out. The director saying yesterday that this notion that they caved to the NFL is nonsense, and now he wants his movie out before Christmas so that he can show people, hey, the NFL is going to hate this movie.
Right.
And maybe this is the beginning of a significant weakening of Roger Goodell. You know, it seems like he doesn't know what he's doing. It seems he's in over his head. But his constituency is, he has a constituency of 32. Doesn't matter what the media says. Doesn't matter what fans say. All it matters is 32 team owners. We'll see if this is the beginning of some desire for them to break. Believe me, you can find another corporatist to represent you.
Well, the thing with that real quick is that as long as money is still being put into the pockets of the owners,
but
Goodell's going to be in charge. Why would they?
I got it, but sure, of course. But at some point, you recognize, A, we can make more money if we eliminate some of this bad publicity, or we can run the risk of not losing money that we might lose. At some point, you come to a decision that wouldn't it be better if we had an
Adam Silver-like,
if we had a better relationship with fans, players, media, the world at large, for lack of a better term. That's a pretty bad term. But I mean, if the NFL, if at some point bad publicity matters, and if it helps them to get rid of Goodell, look, they'll hire an assistant. They'll continue to make money. Roger Goodell is not the only guy who can earn a living.
They make. It's just a matter of that bad publicity is what dominates the headlines, and it made the NFL normally during an off season where you're trying so hard to find a good story, a juicy story. Right, which is essentially what's wrong with the blogging networks in general. But that whole point from January 18th to September 3rd, today, all that was dominating the headlines.
Yeah, so they don't like that.
This.
Right.
They might not like it, but it still gets everyone's head in, or
no, they don't like
in NFL mode.
You're in NFL mode. I just read yesterday, here's who wasn't happy about having to go testify at that trial. Here's who's not happy that we're talking about Tom Brady exactly a week before the NFL kicks off. Wellington Mara. Owners didn't like having to deal with this. They don't like it. Believe me, the NFL knows how to stay in the zeitgeist. The NFL doesn't need Tom Brady in federal court to be relevant. So I'm not saying it's the end of Roger Goodell. It will be interesting to see if this is a significant crack in the armor.
Word of the day, zeitgeist.